Hey, what's up guys? Stay Patient here with this week's trophy update. It's April already, can you believe it, man? Crumbs. Right, there's a couple of games I want to mention from previous weeks. One was from last week, which is the Inner World. Now this has two stacking trophy sets. One is North America, one is Europe. And if you've had a chance to look at PlayStationTrophies.org, you'll notice that The Mind is a City has done another guide. She's great at doing guides for these point-and-click adventures. We did mention it last week as a probable dead easy quick platinum, although no one had played it at that point, but obviously now people have played it. You can tell from the completion percentage here, 65% average. We've got 57% have platted it, 33% on PSN itself, which is very high. And then if we go to the fastest completion times here, you'll notice people getting it in like 2-3 hours for... so it's a pretty quick one as well. And if you look at PlayStationTrophies.org, The Mind is a City also has a step-by-step guide for it. Now I'm using this to make a video for the game, a video guide. So if you do want to wait for that, feel free. If you want to follow a text guide, it's here on .org. So, you know, this is another dead easy quick platinum to add to the collection. We also have a second one, which is Ikimu, which you'll probably remember we watched the trailer for, again, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. This is kind of a 3D platformer of sorts with, I guess, puzzle elements. It looks kind of fun, but the completion percentage is even higher for this one. So we've got 65%, 52% on PSN itself. Then we've got 69%, 41%. Obviously, if you missed last week's episode, you might not know what this is all about, the change of percentage. They've added this feature where they show both the percentage on the website, so just out of the people that are signed up on the site or available, you know, their stats are available, and also the actual PSN percentage. So this is the percentage you would see if you were looking at the game on your actual PS4 when looking through your trophy list. So that's really helpful because that means it includes everybody who's played the game. So to have 41% completion rating on the platinum out of everyone in the world that's played this, not just those on the site, that's very, very high. And again, this is a nice quick one. This is, you know, even quicker. More people have done it under 2 hours. We've got someone here getting it in under 1 hour. So yeah, there's two games, guys, that we spoke about over the last couple of weeks and that I promised we'd come back to and check once they launched, and they are both nice and easy. So that's the Inner World and Ikimu. There isn't a guide for Ikimu yet, but it looks like it's nice and straightforward, you know. You can just keep your eye out for collectibles or whatever you need to do throughout the game to get the trophies. Okay, so moving on to this week, we've got quite a few games. We had a few sort of added over the week, but then we had a load added overnight. I'm recording this Sunday morning, so there's a few that I've only had sort of an hour or so to have a quick look at, you know, do a bit of research for. I'm just looking to see where we finished. I think we got up to Skyforge, didn't we? That's a stacking list. Aeru, this is a music-based game, so we're not going to watch the trailer because you won't be able to hear the music. I don't share the sound on the trailers just for copyright purposes, but it looks kind of cool, and apparently it's been made by just 2 people, a development team made up of 2 people. It looks a lot like Res on the PS1, I think that was. Obviously we had Res Infinite released for VR recently. Looks like that kind of game. You're kind of flying through environments and you're locking on to different enemies to create music and stuff. It looks kind of cool. It's probably going to be quite difficult because there are trophies for completing. You've got to do normal, advanced and master, and then some other trophies as well, earning all the stars and things like that. So I'm guessing, you know, with this type of game, they would make the highest difficulty quite tricky. Where did we get to? It's annoying having to scroll down each time. Anyway, we've got Shyness, the Lightning Kingdom. This actually looks really cool. The graphical style is really nice. I like it anyway. It's kind of cartoony. This is an RPG, but with kind of platforming, puzzle elements. There's a bit of everything. As you watch the trailer, you'll notice it's got a bit of almost every genre you can think of. It does remind me in some ways of a kind of, at least graphically, like the environments look a bit like Ni no Kuni or something. The characters are, I think they look like they're hand-drawn. I haven't checked that. I just noticed that as we're watching this trailer again now, but it looks very much like they might be hand-drawn, which is really cool. That's probably what gives it this unique art style. In fact, maybe all the environments have got some level of, you know, hand-drawn elements to them. But as you can see, it looks like quite a big sprawling world. Probably going to be a nice, you know, substantial RPG. But it's sort of free-flowing combat as well. It's real-time combat. It's not turn-based. And you've got a bit of platforming elements there. There's some, I guess, puzzle elements, although that's not really a puzzle, just kind of putting a block on a button. But it does look as though, like I say, it's got a bit of everything. And it kind of reminds me in some ways of Zelda, which is quite nice to have a game that looks actually quite respectable. You know, this isn't like a cheap indie game, although, you know, I love indie games, but it's nice to have a game that could maybe not necessarily rival Zelda, but something that gives PS4 players a game of that type to be able to get their teeth stuck into. It's obviously, I think it's a new franchise. If anyone's heard of Shyness before, then let me know, but I was searching, you know, there's nothing on PlayStation anyway that I could find. Nothing trophy related from previous games, so this might well be a brand new franchise. So, you know, if that's the case, it probably won't get a lot of recognition straight away, apart from through word of mouth, hopefully. So that's what I'm doing. Although I don't know that it's going to be good, I'm trying to let you guys know about the game at least, so that you can check it out if it's your kind of thing. Hopefully, if it's fun, we can spread word of it, and it can become a success. That'd be quite nice if it is a decent play. There we go, so that's Shyness. Let's check out the trophy list for it briefly. There were some trophies that stood out to me, and I think they were all gold and silver, so we're going to swap them to type order here. Yeah, let's have a look. Where were they? Beat a legend with rank S. Yeah, here's one of them. Finish the game with no game over. So that could be quite tricky. I don't know if there's like multiple ways of dying. Maybe if you die, you've still got sort of teammates or companions that are still alive and it doesn't count as a game over. So hopefully if you like fall off a ledge or something, it won't count as a game over. But that could potentially be quite tricky. It is a gold trophy. We've got, there was some, oh yeah, finish all secondary quests and all contracts. So it is going to be a case of like pretty much 100%ing the game. But for the rest of it, a lot of them seem like things you might get naturally on the way through. It looks like quite a nice trophy set. It's just that one trophy that could be a pain if you do, you know, no game overs. Depending on what counts as a game over, that could be a bit tricky. But let's head back and carry on with the list because we've got a lot to get through today. We have the Inner World. Obviously, we've already spoken about that. That's been added because it's got a stacking trophy set. We mentioned, didn't we, as Europe and North America. In fact, that's the same for Ikimu. I forget if I did mention that. So just to reiterate, the Inner World and Ikimu can be platted twice. And both of them have lists from Europe and North America. There's no like Japanese list or whatever. You don't have to kind of navigate one of the very foreign stores. It's very difficult to find your way around. We've got Snake Pass here. This looks really interesting. I actually watched a video on how to control the snake in this game because I was watching it. I was thinking, how on earth are you meant to kind of twist around objects and things like that? And it's quite interesting. You basically hold the R2 button, which is almost like accelerate, and that moves you forward. But to be able to move at any kind of speed, you need to twist right and left. So the analog stick moves your head, sorry. The left analog stick moves your head. So you can like twist right and left, and that allows you to have speed, which is how a snake operates in real life, apparently. And then the X button, if you hold the X button, it moves your head up, almost like jump. But that's how you kind of twist around objects, because you drop your head and then move around it and then move your head up again. And it would take a bit of getting used to the controls. In fact, I almost forgot. I did message a couple of guys who've platted it. If we take a look at the trophies here. In fact, we've had 3 people who've platted it. I've messaged Wapuli and Wasman23. They very kindly got back to me. Wapuli says, last few stages were kind of frustrating to no miss, and trophies no diving and Flora's Molten Rock took some time. Other than those, it was pretty easy. Wasman23 says, it's a solid challenge. The mechanics take a while to understand, but once they click, the sense of difficulty starts to fade away and is just replaced by sheer joy. Okay, so he's given a good appraisal of the game there. It seems to be quite fun. It looks interesting. It looks like a very interesting control scheme. And as mentioned there might be some tricky elements to it. But, you know, I don't think it's going to be a dead easy plat, but I don't think it's going to be insurmountable either. I'm just looking through to see if there were any trophies that sort of stood out to me when I was scanning it earlier. It's difficult to remember with all the games that I look through in preparation for these videos, but if we maybe check out the gold and silver ones, I think the one he was mentioning there was no diving. In fact, on PlayStationTrophies.org, someone did mention about that particular trophy. No dive issues. He says, so I've been attempting this trophy for hours now and I've made it through multiple times without as much as my tippy tail touching the water. Still no trophy. No one's responded to that, but the trophy, no diving, here it is. Completed Lazy Lagoon without touching the water. Okay, so that's one of the rarest ones in the game, 1.43%. So that could be a tricky one. Maybe it could be glitched as well, although people are earning it. So maybe there's something like a hidden requirement that people aren't aware of yet. But yeah, I think the trickiness with this game is going to be not necessarily the trophies themselves, but just getting used to the control scheme so that it becomes natural, you know? With a lot of games, a lot of genres like racing games or platformers or whatever, we just naturally do it without thinking. But as soon as like a whole new genre comes out, you have to relearn how to play games almost. But let's head back and carry on with the list here, guys. Hopefully in time we'll have a bit more feedback for that one. Where did we get to? Here we are. So we have quite a few Japanese games this week. We have Dynamic Chord, which has actually taken over as the easiest game on psnprofiles.com. Where is it? Yeah, Easy Games, Dynamic Chord. There's only a few people that have played it, but for now it's 100% completion for everyone, at least based on those who are on the site. Let's have a look at it just out of interest. This is a Vita game. It's obviously got much lower percentage on PSN itself, but out of those on the website, you know, a lot of people on psnprofiles.com would buy like easy, quick Vita visual novels to get the trophies nice and quickly. We've got a few recognizable names here. Fairy Jan, Tim Gu. Yeah, but as you can see, it's like a couple hours, 2-3 hours. So that's one, if you're like a hardcore kind of Japanese visual novel player, you know, for the easy plats, and that's one to take a look at. That's Dynamic Chord. And then we've also got Chaos Child, Choo Choo. So this has got a stacking list across PS4 and Vita. This doesn't have quite as high a completion percentage, but it's pretty high. And this is another visual novel, I believe. This can be done even quicker. This is like an hour or so. So that's another option for you real hardcore platinum collectors. I suppose we could use that term, couldn't we? Trophy hunter is a very broad term, but I guess platinum collector would like refer to those people who are out there to earn every easy plat, along with other games along the way. I love this. I love this name here. Clap, Kind, Love and Punish Fun Party. How Japanese could you get without actually being Japanese? You know, this is English language, but I love how Japanese that name sounds. It's awesome. We have another Star Ocean game here. These are always very long. They're never that difficult as far as I know. I've got a friend who's into these. I've never actually played one myself, but obviously they're Japanese RPGs. They look quite fun, and I might check one out one day. But like I say, they do require a very heavy time commitment, like over 100 hours, maybe more. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear back if anyone has played that. I'd love to know how enjoyable, even the old Star Oceans, you know, I'd love to hear some feedback for any of the Star Ocean games, because I really enjoyed, for instance, Final Fantasy X. I really got into that. You know, I love kind of, even though the stories can be quite cheesy, I quite enjoy that at times. And so I think I might enjoy Star Ocean if I dove into it. Obviously, time is an issue these days. We've got another Lego game. Obviously, this has actually been out on Nintendo Wii U for a while, I think. Maybe like 3 years, maybe. Actually, no, I think it came out in 2013. It's coming out this year, obviously 2017, so it's almost 4 years old, but for some reason it's coming out now on PS4 as well as Nintendo Switch and Xbox One, I believe. But obviously we've got the collect 4 billion Lego studs this time, that's fine. Like, as long as it's a normal Lego game that's got all the red bricks that you can use to multiply your studs and everything, then that's fine, that will come naturally. But I know the Lego... what was the one that came out recently? Yeah, Lego Universe or Lego World or something. The one that's, you know, very much like Minecraft. I know there aren't any red bricks in that, so that was a bit of a nightmare. You had to spend hours and hours just grinding out studs. But this looks to be... I mean, there does look to be some like interesting trophies in it that are quite different to usual. We're not going to look through them all because it's bound to be a nice easy trophy set. Maybe quite long-winded. Sometimes the Lego games do take sort of 40 hours plus. But, you know, there are some interesting trophies there. If you want to take some time yourself to look through, maybe you're planning on playing it, you know, there are some slightly different ones that make me think maybe the gameplay style is a bit different to usual. We've also got Persona 5. Now, there's actually a review for this on PlayStationTrophies.org. If you check out Metacritic, this is doing just as well as Persona 4 Golden, which was, of course, a Vita game. I think it was re-released. It was originally on PS3 or PS2 or something, I forget, but it was known for being on Vita. Persona 4 Golden has got like one of the highest ratings on like Metacritic and GameRankings.com ever. It's up around like 94% or so. And Persona 4 seems to be following suit. It's sat at 94% on Metacritic at the moment. And I quite like checking out the reviews on PlayStationTrophies.org because they review everything that you want to know about the game, as well as the trophies, which is something that other reviewers don't really cover. So here you'll notice that, I mean, the surprise for me is the audio. They've said that the soundtrack is one of the best they've ever heard, which is pretty cool. So that's 100 out of 100. And then visuals, playability, delivery is all 95. And then we've got trophies at 90. They've said that the list is very similar to Persona 4. There's actually something else we're going to read on that subject in a moment, but let's just read the summary here. They've said Persona 5 is undoubtedly one of the best JRPGs that we've not only seen in recent years, but perhaps ever seen. The follow-up to the classic that was Persona 4 builds upon its forebear in every department, both in terms of its dungeons and its day-to-day shenanigans. Aside from a few weird pacing issues and some uninteresting boss fights, Persona 5 is at the top of its game, which will delight fans of Japanese games and culture around the world. So it's getting incredible reviews across the board, and obviously this game has been out for a while actually. The Japanese version has been out for some time, a few months at least, or you know, since December I think last year. So, you know, it's had its chance to be reviewed and everything. That's why it's got a lot of reviews in already, even though it's coming out in the West, I think this week, or at least very soon. But let's have a look. There was something I read in the estimated time to platinum. Now, if anyone's played Persona 4, you'll remember the lines. You have to play on a certain difficulty for lines to appear during battle, and you need to see a certain number of lines. I think they're like lines of dialogue. This guy said that it's easier if you play on the lowest difficulty. Sasuke has said playing on lowest difficulty won't net the lines trophy, which was the case on Persona 4. But someone's mentioned here, I think it might only need to be 250 lines as opposed to 250 different lines, which was the case on Persona 4. Which, if true, means you can totally get it on the easier setting. So if that's right, I mean, he's based that on, you know, the percentage of completion for those different trophies. Obviously, it's very low on Persona 4 because it takes a lot of planning before you even start the game. But on this, a lot of those trophies are quite high in completion. So it looks like they may have changed the requirements from 250 different lines of dialogue to 250 lines, so you can repeat the same one. So that will just come naturally. I don't know that for sure, but it's an interesting point that they've made here and something definitely worth checking out, because that will kind of limit the amount of preparation you need to do going into the game and also enable you to play on the lowest difficulty. Back to the list here though, we have another stacking trophy set for Dying Reborn on Vita. I'm not sure what region that's for yet. They haven't figured it out on PlayStationTrophies.org. We've got Blackwood Crossing. Now we're not going to watch a trailer for this simply because it's very much a story-based trailer, and without the sound it wouldn't make any sense. It would just be like, you'd just be seeing characters. It wouldn't mean anything. But it looks cool. It's basically like a first-person point-and-click adventure crossed with like a walking simulator. It's very much like a narrative-based game. It sounds quite interesting. Again, I'm kind of going to hold back from looking at the trophies because there will be a lot of possible story spoilers in there. It's based on kind of your relationship with another character in the game. Again, I don't want to ruin anything. But the reason I mention it is because A, it looks pretty cool. It looks like a nice story. It looks interesting. But at the same time, it's very likely to be another easy platinum. And it's quite cool that it does have a plat. I was kind of expecting it not to, because it's been bundled in with other games recently, that, you know, other games that don't have platinums and a nice short, quick, like 100%. But this does have a plat, and you can stack up, I think it's the European and the North American versions. And I can almost guarantee that this is going to be a game that we're coming back to over the next couple of weeks, a bit like we did with Inner World and Ikimu this week. We'll be coming back and saying, yep, it is easy, there's a guide up. You know, I'm sure The Mind is a City is probably already working on a guide if the game's out, or maybe as soon as it comes out. So yeah, keep your eye on this one. This is one we'll cover again in the future, and I might do a video guide for. We've got Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. I have to say, I kind of forgot this game was even coming out, but the trailers for it aren't very good, but I'm sure the game itself might actually be quite fun. Ghost Warrior 1 and 2 didn't review especially well. They did okay. They were like 6 or 7 out of 10, I think. But they were quite enjoyable. They're quite basic. It's basically like Call of Duty with just sniping, pretty much. But this looks like they've put a bit more effort into it. This is open world this time around. And, you know, this is kind of a story-based trailer, so it's basically explaining that your brother is taken and your job is to go and get him back. But as you can see, there's a lot more to the game. You know, the previous games were a bit more linear, but this is open world, kind of almost a bit like, Wildlands that came out recently. Obviously not that big, but the fact that you can drive vehicles around and you can take different approaches, you can sort of scan areas before you head in. It might be kind of cool, and I was looking through the trophies, and one thing that will probably please a lot of you is the fact that there aren't any online ones. I think it does have an online mode, does have multiplayer available, because the game actually comes with the season pass. If you go on amazon.co.uk, or, well, just Amazon in general, I don't know why I added the .co.uk, but, you know, if you take a look at Amazon, you'll notice it here, season pass edition. Maybe that's just pre-order includes free season pass. So they're obviously trying to get people to check the game out, trying to get them to commit to it by pre-ordering, which could be a bad sign. Maybe it's a sign that they're not confident the game's going to do well based on merit. But it is quite a nice touch as well. If you do pre-order the game, you do get the season pass. And the reason I mention that is because the season pass talks about multiplayer maps. So there is multiplayer available, but you don't have to play it for the trophies. In fact, if we take a look through, this is how a lot of you prefer it to be, I think. You know, you like to have multiplayer just in case it's fun, so you can spend time with it, but you don't want to have to play it if it's not enjoyable. So that's kind of cool. I was looking through the trophies earlier. I've kind of forgotten what they were by now, but let's have a look. Neutralize 100% from the most wanted list in one playthrough. In fact, if we go back to the normal order, because there were quite a few kind of stacking trophies. So we've got to complete all the acts here. We've got to neutralize 100% of the most wanted list. I'm guessing they're optional targets because it is open world. There is like here, for instance, side ops. You need to complete all side ops in the 3 different areas in one playthrough. And pretty much all the trophies state that they need to be done in one playthrough. So some of that might be annoying. I'm hoping that you can go back and do or, you know, obviously with it being open world, I'm guessing the collectibles can be found at any time. But, I'm not sure if it's open-ended. If it says in one playthrough, maybe the game does have a definite ending, so there's probably a point of no return where you need to make sure you've done everything up until that point. Like here, we have to find all the collectibles, so that could be annoying if the game ends and we need to do a whole new playthrough to find them all. Hopefully... It's very confusing, isn't it? Because I would assume with it being open world that it's open-ended as well and you can carry on after the last mission. But this makes me think that that's not going to be the case. We've got 20 point of interest. There's a lot of grammatical errors in this trophy list, I'll tell you. This is quite cool. Survivalist. Hunt and collect 10 organic samples in one playthrough. So obviously a picture of the deer there. You're going to be able to hunt and stuff. That's quite nice. They've added some extra kind of elements to the game. Obvious trophies, you know, the ones you'd expect from a sniping game, shooting an enemy through a wall, killing enemy snipers, using lure bullets. Lure, I never pronounce that right. Lure. That's kind of like Far Cry, isn't it? Where you throw stones and it kind of lures people over. Tagging bullets. Oh no, lure bullets. Yeah, I guess you shoot the ground and it makes a noise or something. Yeah, tagging bullets. Can you shoot someone without them seeing you? Mark your prey? Maybe that's like a bullet that they don't feel, but it's just used to tag them. That's a bit odd. So we've got stealth kills, interrogations, the drone modules. That's pretty cool. That's kind of what reminded me of Wildlands that I mentioned earlier. The fact that you can kind of scout out areas using drones. This is cool as well. Hacking into CCTV and using that to tag enemies. This might be annoying. Surviving 250 hits in one playthrough. Because if you're playing well, then you're not going to be spotted and you're not going to be shot. So you need to make sure you are spotted, you know, occasionally. And you need to make sure that you are hit by 250 bullets without dying. Although I'm guessing maybe you can die during the game. but every bullet that doesn't kill you counts as a hit. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully you don't have to do 250 in one life. It does say in one playthrough, so that should be fine. Killing enemies from above and below while driving, that's pretty cool. You can drive around the areas. Do a headshot from 500 meters using scope 10 times. Yeah, that's a very typical trophy for a sniping game. What would it be without a long range shot trophy? I think we've got a short range one as well. Oh no, is that marksman? Yeah, we've got long shot, kill an enemy from 500 meters distance. Oh, so that's... Oh right, okay, so this is, yeah, that's a long range shot, that's a long range headshot. And you have to use a particular scope for it. Fly 5 kilometers with a drone, just start scanning through a bit quicker. Yeah, I'm just showing you here that there aren't any online trophies. Usually they come in at the end, don't they? There's a kind of Easter egg one there. A few sort of random miscellaneous ones here. Triple kill with one bullet. Yeah, so it actually looks like it's probably going to be a nice easy trophy set. It doesn't have a difficulty related trophy. It has a lot of collectibles and stuff, but as soon as there are some guides to follow, this looks like a nice easy one. And I do hope it's enjoyable. I didn't mind Ghost Warrior 2. I played it mostly for the trophies, and it was a very simple game, but I quite like sniping. You know, if I'm playing a military shooter, I quite like it to be sniping. So hopefully that's fun. Anaximia. The release trailer for this is 2 years old, so I'm guessing it's been out on PC for a while and they're just kind of porting it over to PS4. But here's the PS4 trailer. This is, well, anaxemia is basically the lack of oxygen in your bloodstream. So this obviously is based on that. You're underwater and you have to manage your oxygen. The control scheme, I can't really tell what the control scheme is based on watching this. It's, you know, it's 2D and you seem to be following a cursor. When it comes up, you'll see, there you go, there's like a cursor on screen just here, and your character seems to be following it. So you're kind of leading him. And I'm not sure if it's kind of taking you to where there's oxygen that you can use, but I mean, it doesn't look that exciting, to be honest. I often, you know, like the look of a lot of the 2D games that come out. Some of them have really cool kind of elements to them, like novel elements that are quite unique. And this kind of seems to with the control scheme there, but it just looks a little bit boring to me, to be honest. Yeah, it's kind of slow moving, and you know, the trailer itself is quite short, I guess, because, you know, there's not a lot to show off really. But it might be the kind of game that some of you, you know, appeals to some of you, I should say. Trophy wise, I haven't really looked through this properly. It's quite a short trophy set, that's the main thing you can say. A lot of the trophies are quite ambiguous. They're not very obvious when it comes to what's involved. But because it is a short list, it does have a nice lot of golds. We've got 7 there. Yeah, 7 gold trophies, so that's quite nice. Obviously, it still only levels you up by the same amount as any other platinum. In fact, it's got less points than a typical plat at 1,140. But it's always quite nice being able to add a decent number of golds into your collection. Mortal Blitz here has 2 trophy sets. I'm not sure which regions they're from yet. But if we watch the trailer, this actually reminds me of one of the tech demos that was shown off for PSVR like ages ago before it ever came out, when they were first talking about it. So this is obviously a VR game, and you'll remember if you watched the videos where, you know, some of the kind of IGN and GameSpot guys were trying out VR tech demos for the first time, they were playing a game very much like this. I don't know if it was this actual game or whether they've kind of used that tech demo to sort of result in a game like this. But it was basically showcasing how you can lean, like stand up, and the camera obviously follows your headset so it knows where you are, and that's how it knows. Obviously you need I'm guessing you need the guns. I forget what they're called, but I think Farpoint, that game that's coming out for VR, Farpoint, that requires a gun as well. And it might be that you need 2 of them, or maybe the Move controllers, but obviously it would make more sense with those kind of light gun type things. But obviously, it's just quite cool that, you know, although this looks very simple, it's quite cool that it's showcasing and utilising the movement a bit more than some other games, where you literally have to duck down and take cover, and the game knows that you're ducked because the headset, you know, the actual VR headset moves. And then obviously your hands are moving as well. Whatever controllers you're holding, that determines where your hands are. So yeah, it looks interesting. It looks very basic, but it's quite cool that they are kind of pushing VR forward and they are using those those mechanics a bit more. I haven't actually looked at the trophies yet, so let's take a quick look together. We've got tutorial, clear the first mission, clear the encounter mission with at least 15% accuracy, and then 30% accuracy on expert. That doesn't seem very high, but I'm guessing you're shooting quite wildly, and it's probably quite difficult to aim because as your head moves, your view on the screen moves as well, so you have to kind of compensate for that. We've got to... Oh, okay. It's kind of split into sections, so we've got the same trophies here for each level, I guess. So we've got to clear encounter on the highest difficulty and on expert with 30% accuracy, and then we've got exactly the same trophies for the Pandora's Box mission and also Biohazard. Is it 30% each time? Yeah. Oh, and also Hunted and Ambush. Okay, so all those trophies are exactly the same for each level. And then you've got to clear all the missions on all difficulties, which you will have already done for the other trophies. And then there's training mode, clear level 50 in training mode. And then, what's this, groggy finish? Gained 150,000 points of groggy finish bonus. Okay, so by the pictures here, it looks as though, you know, when you finish the level, you need to be maybe low on health or something. That seems a bit weird. Gaining a certain number of points worth of finishing levels while you're knackered. I really don't know what that's referring to be honest. But it looks like a fairly simple trophy set, not easy. When I say simple, I never mean easy. I always mean like simple to sort of understand and know what you're working towards. I mean, you could in theory say that Super Meat Boy is simple in the sense that all you need to do is finish all the levels without dying, but obviously it's very, very difficult. Whereas some games are easy, but not simple because there's so much involved. You have to do a lot of research. You have to know, like, maybe there's tons of collectibles. Maybe there's things that you have to do right from the beginning of the game. Otherwise, you screw things up for yourself. And those games could be really, really easy to complete, but they could be really kind of convoluted at the same time. A bit like Borderlands 2. There's a lot to think about in that game, but it's not difficult. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. Armaglant, this is a franchise that I don't really know anything about, to be honest. It's a strategy card-based game, so it's going to be kind of an acquired taste, I guess. Some of you probably, you know, if you're into these types of games, you've probably checked out the trophies already, and there's not really a lot I could tell you about them by looking through the list, to be honest. Last of all, though, we do have Mr. Massagy. Now, this is the next game from the guys who brought us My Name is Mayo, which is why it's kind of a key title in its own way, especially for trophy hunters. It's been out on PC for a few months, and it's actually, you know, received a really good response from PC players. I think it's got a 9 out of 10 on Steam. If we check out a trailer for it, you'll notice that it's even more ridiculous than, than My Name is Mayo. So you can basically choose your massages, but you have to earn them, a bit like you unlock things on My Name is Mayo, unlock different jars and stuff. But this is also like a dating game, so you have to kind of pair people up. I guess it's sort of like a puzzle element where you have to kind of figure out who pairs up with who, something like that. I haven't actually watched any gameplay for it. It's not the kind of game I'd sit and watch on YouTube, but there are a lot of people who've got gameplay up for it. People like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, they've done quite a few videos on it. But really, there are two reasons why this is key for trophy hunters. Obviously, I've looked through the trophy set. It's difficult to really tell how easy it's going to be. I'm guessing it's going to be very straightforward again. But there does seem to be more to it than just tapping a screen. Probably not a lot more, but there are some more elements, some more mechanics at play. So as you can see from all the names of the trophies, it's very much based on massages and dating. And like I say, the two reasons why this is kind of key is partly because it's bound to be another easy trophy set, but secondly, because, you know, while these guys were working on this game, making sure it was done, making sure it was ported across and working on PS4 and everything, they were probably, you know, they were quite tied up, you know, their time was taken up. But now it's done, that probably means they're going to be able to get back to porting across My Name is Mayo for Europe. So obviously, you know, My Name is Mayo is only available in America at the moment. A lot of people have been asking on the channel, when's it coming to Europe? I did tweet them, and originally they did say that they were trying for March, but then someone else said, no, in fact, they were trying for February originally, but someone else said eventually that it was planned for March, but it still hasn't come. So we're in April already, but I'm guessing, you know, now they're going to be able to kind of pull their socks up, and now that this game is ready and done or whatever, you know, once this is launched, they'll be able to actually get to work on, you know, getting My Name is Mayo released for us here in Europe as well. So that will be 2 more like ultra easy quick platinums for us on Vita and PS4. And you know what, I've just noticed this link here, and Dark Poxin, no, I've pronounced that wrong, but I'm not going to try again because I'll just get it wrong a second time. But he's one of our viewers on the channel, so let's check out what he has to say. There's a few posts here. Let's see if there's anything interesting. What a weird game idea. Yeah, these are quite new, these ones. It's been on Steam for a little while. I believe you can actually use your controller to massage yourself. Yeah, that's the idea, isn't it? Let's see. Forgot to say, but it got positive reviews on Steam. Yeah, it actually got like 9 out of 10, like I mentioned before. Oh, someone's mentioned, is it going to cost $5.99 like Steam? Okay, so this is interesting. I hadn't actually looked at the price on Steam, but it looks like it's more expensive than My Name is Mayo. Obviously, one of the key kind of appealing factors of that game was the fact that it was 99 cents. So it looks like it is going to be a bit more money, but that's still pretty cheap if you ask me. Okay, let's read Dark's comment here. All I've seen as far as release dates thus far is just spring, no specific dates. I saw Markiplier play this. It's a pretty fun game. I may actually get it and play it myself. I didn't even know it was coming to PS4. So that's quite interesting. He does bring up the release date. I just searched for the release date here, and as he mentioned on the PlayStation Store, it does say something about spring. Let's, so yeah, there it is. Release date spring 2017. Now, I could have sworn that I saw an actual release date for this, but I must have been mistaken. So maybe it's not as imminent as it looks, but hopefully it's out soon, like I say, so that we can get both this and the European release of My Name is Mayo. Alrighty guys, so that's everything for this week. Quite a few games, some sort of semi-big games with Sniper Ghost Warrior 3 and also Persona 5. We've got lots of indie stuff here. We've got another Lego game. We've got some VR stuff, a nice variety to be honest. Hopefully Mr. Massagy soon. Got some more point-and-click adventures, and like I mentioned at the start, don't forget Ikimu and the Inner World. Keep your eye on the channel because I have already started work on at least making notes for my Inner World guide, and then I'm going to try and put that up at some point this week. So there we go guys, thanks very much once again for all your support on the channel, for watching today and liking and subscribing if you haven't already. Have a good week, and I'll catch you very soon. Cheers, guys. One last thing, guys. Today we're featuring Gordon Logan's channel, so while you wait for my next video, do me a favour and go show him some support by checking out the gaming-related content he works hard on producing, and maybe subscribe to help him get his channel off the ground. Thank you in advance from the both of us.